Hi everyone, it's Kerry back with you today. I recently saw this cute little album on a video that Rhonda from A Little Bit French shared, and it was a tiny little album that had little photographs in it, and it really inspired me to create my own. So I've made this little one here. It was really fun to make, and I've just used photos from our wrapping paper. Now I'm going to show you how I've created it and give you some ideas on how you could create one yourself. Now in full disclosure, I've used the laser to cut and engrave my photo pages and also my front and back covers, but you don't need to have a laser. You could use just chipboard or cardboard or even paper, punch for the circles. The measurements of my pages are approximately 12 centimeters long and 6 centimeters high, and my punched circles here would be about an inch. The cover is slightly bigger, so the cover is 12.5 centimeters by 6.5 centimeters, but I have heavily distressed the edge, so that's made it just a little bit smaller. So if you wanted to create one along with me, you could just use those measurements and some cardboard or paper, scrapbooking paper, things like that. So I've prepared a few bits and pieces to make the video a little bit more smooth and also not so long. So these are some pages that I've already created. I'm just going to bring in my other pages, and the first thing I'm going to do is add some ink to my chipboard pieces. So I'm just using Distress Oxide in Walnut Stain. I'm just going to come in from the edges to give it a bit of a sort of worn look there. So I've just got a piece of acetate here from some packaging, and I'm just going to spray some water drops on there, and then I'm dipping my card that I've inked with the Distress Oxide into the water drips, and it just gives me this sort of lovely distressed watery look. When this starts to dry, these colours will actually separate a little bit more. So I've just got that sort of look going on there. So here I've just got 4 faces that I've cut from that wrapping paper, and I'm just going to glue those onto the backs of my frames here. So I'm popping a little bit of glue around the edge. Then I take my photo and I line my circle up over the top and just press down to pick up my photo. Then I can press it down from the back. And I do that for all 4 photos. So now I need to create a hinge for my page so that I can bind it in like a book page, and I'm just going to use some brown packaging. I've got this very stiff and sturdy brown packaging here. So I'm going to turn my pictures upside down, but I need to make sure that they're the right way, so I don't want, one upside down and one around the other way. So up the right way, and I'm just going to pop them together there. And I'm just going to put a little bit of glue onto one side. Oops, a bit too much. And I'm just going to pop my brown paper on about halfway across the piece of my brown paper here and give that a good press down. So then I'm going to add some glue onto this other side. I'm going to pick up my pages and make sure that they're flush on the table and fold this piece of brown paper over and press down into the glue. So what that's doing, it's hinging these two pages together, but it's also allowing a small gap in between the two pages so they can turn freely and not get caught on each other. So now I have all my pages hinged together. I'm going to start assembling my book block. And again, I'm just going to use glue. And I'm not putting any glue on my pictures just because I don't want them to warp. So I take my two pages and I'm lining them up to make sure that they're flush and together. And then I'll attach this page to the next one. Again, just lining them all up so they're all flush with each other. And then giving them a good press. And we just continue until we've got them all stuck together. So now I have my little block here with all of my pages bound in. I need to make a fly page, and I'm going to use this piece of handmade paper because it's very strong, and I've folded it in half, which is almost exactly the same size, so that's good enough. I don't mind if it's a little tiny bit bigger, but I need to cut it down to approximately the right width, and I'm going to leave it just a tad bit, like a millimetre or two bigger than my actual text block or book block. So I want to tear it about there. And I need two of these. Okay, so one for the front and one for the back. So it does hang over slightly, but I'm quite happy with that. So again, I'm just going to take some glue and pop it over my chipboard, but I'm going to keep it off my photos. And I want to make sure that I'm gluing pretty much right to the edge here, and I want the folded edge here to be level with the edge of this spine part of my book block. And the same on the other side. So I don't mind if it's not 100% level. I think it just gives it a little bit more character and makes it look a bit older. And again, making sure my fold is lined up with the edge of my block here. So now I've got like a fly page or a cover page, and then, oops, upside down, Miss Jane. Then we go into our images there. Now I'm probably going to put some vintage paper or something on here to give it a bit more character, and also because I can still see the slight outline of what's underneath there, and I don't want to do that, but I'll do that in the decorating stage. Okay, so now I've just cut a piece of fabric from this cotton roll, and I've made it slightly longer than my book to wrap around my whole book. So I'm going to come in with some glue And I'm coming in from the edge just a little bit, probably about 1/2 centimetre, because I don't really want the glue to seep out onto the top fringy part of my fabric. And it will seep through my fabric, but I'm not really worried about that because I'm going to decorate it anyway. I'm just going to spread that glue out a little bit so it's not so stripy underneath my fabric. So taking the end, I'm just going to stick that down roughly in the middle of the width of my fabric. Something like that, and then press down. Now it doesn't matter if it's not even on the edge, we can trim that up afterwards. So then I'm going to add some glue onto this spine area. And again, popping more glue on the front here. Smoothing my fabric down. Now I've got quite a bit more on this edge, but that's alright because we'll trim that off after we're finished. And giving that all a good press down. So I'm just going to set that over to the side to dry, and I'm going to bring in my covers. Now I've made 2 sets of covers because I quite like this one, and I've engraved some words in there. It says Whispers of the Past. So I thought that might be cool, but then I've also got just plain ones because I wasn't sure which one I would like to use. So let's colour them all up and have a look. So I need a front and a back, so I've got 2 fronts and a back here, and I'm just going to do the same technique with the Distress Oxide. And bring my acetate back in, and this time I'm going to smush a little bit of my Oxide ink on there as well. Spray in a little bit of water, get rid of my lines. Okay, so I think I will use this little cover with the writing on, so I'll pop that one aside for a different book. Now these covers, I have cut them to be about 2.5 millimeters bigger than my actual book because I knew I wanted to distress around the edges of these. So I'm just going to come in with my scissors and distress the edges quite heavily. Now where the chipboard is wet, it is a lot more fragile, so I'll get breaks and things like that. But that just adds to it, I think. Okay, so that's roughed up the edges of my covers, and before I attach them I want to put a little bit of this lace on the spine, and I'm also going to put a little piece of rusty ribbon along the edge of the spine there as well, just for decoration and also just to make it a little bit stronger. So I'll just go in with some glue. I'm just using art glitter glue because I haven't got any fabric glue at the moment, but if I had fabric glue I'd probably use that. So just stretching a little piece of rusty ribbon over the edge there, and then also a piece of rusted lace. And this is purely for decoration, the lace. Just adding a little bit more glue so I can tuck this around the edge of my book. And I'm just going to trim this back piece of fabric down. Now I don't want to cut it too close because I want to be able to fray it. So I'm about 1/2 centimetre or so away from the edge of my book. Okay, so now I want to come in and attach my front and back covers. So I need to make sure I've got my book up the right way, which I do. And again, I'm just using arc glitter glue. Just going to spread that around a bit. And I'm lining up the edge of my cover just slightly longer than the spine edge here. And it's just over, like probably not even a millimetre. Give that a good press down, and then same with my back cover. So now I just want to decorate these inside fly pages a little bit, and they're looking a little bit white on the inside, so I'm just going to go along with my distress ink. Okay, so my covers are on and it's pretty dry now. So to finish off, I'm just going to add some pieces of vintage ephemera, just because I like the way it looks. And I'm just going to scuff this edge just a little bit. It's very fragile, this paper. And for the front, I've picked these two pieces. So I'm just going to pop it like that. And to finish off, I think what I'm going to do is come in with some tacky glue. So I've just got a little bit of tacky glue on this scrap here, and I'm just going to use my finger. I just want the tiniest little bit, and I'm barely touching the surface here of the book. So I don't want it to be everywhere, just in a few places here and there. So once that starts drying, what I've got here is just a piece of the foil that has the dull side on the back, and I can go in and gently rub over the top, and where I've left that tacky glue, not sure if you can even see it there, yep, the gold will stick to the book. So it's always good with this sort of thing to start off lightly. You can always add more, but once it's on there you can't get it off. So just rubbing it over the top and it will stick to that glue. So there we go, that's my finished little book there with the little gold blingy bits on the front, and I've added some more there on the back as well just to tie that in. And we can have a flip through. And I think these would be really cute to make into like little specimen books as well, and you could have, you know, flowers or plants or butterflies, bugs, that sort of thing. So that's my little take on Rhonda's album she shared in one of her videos. I will leave a link below to Rhonda's channel, and if you haven't seen her work, you should definitely pop over and have a look. Thanks so much for joining me today. I'll see you again next time. Bye!